You're 23 years old, fresh out of college, and you just applied for your first apartment. The landlord seemed interested. The place was perfect. Walking distance to your new job, affordable rent, decent neighborhood. You filled out the application, paid the fee, and waited. 3 days later, you get a call. We're sorry, the landlord says, but your application was denied. Your credit score is too low. You're confused. You've never had a credit card, you've never taken out a loan. You've been careful, responsible. How could your credit be bad when you've never used credit? The landlord suggests you pull your credit report to see what's going on. So you do. You go to one of those free credit report websites. Enter your information and wait for it to load. When the page refreshes, you stare at the screen trying to understand what you're seeing. Your credit score is 492. That's not just bad, that's catastrophic. But worse than the score is what's listed under your accounts. There's a car loan for $32,000. Opened 4 years ago. Status, 120 days past due. There's a personal loan for $15,000. Opened 3 years ago. Status, charged off. There's a credit card with an $8,000 balance. Maxed out in collections. You've never bought a car. You've never taken out a personal loan. You don't have a credit card, but according to this report, you owe $55,000. Your hands are shaking as you scroll through the details. The car loan was opened when you were 19, a sophomore in college. The address listed is your parents' house. The personal loan, same thing, your parents' address. The credit card bills were being sent there too. And that's when it clicks. Your parents took out loans in your name. You call your mom, you're trying to stay calm, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is identity theft. Maybe someone stole your information. Maybe your parents are victims too. She answers on the third ring. Cheerful, asking how you're doing, you tell her about the credit report. You ask if she knows anything about it. As a long pause, then she sighs, "Oh, honey, I was going to talk to you about that." She explains it like it's not a big deal. They were going through a rough patch financially. Dad lost his job, they needed a car. Their credit was already bad, so they couldn't get approved. They used your information just temporarily, just to get back on their feet. They were planning to pay it all back before you ever needed credit. But they didn't pay it back. The car got repossessed 2 years ago. The personal loan defaulted. The credit card went to collections. And now you, at 23 years old, have destroyed credit for debts you never agreed to. For money you never saw. For financial decisions you never made. Your mom is still talking. She's explaining how hard things were, how they didn't have a choice, how they were going to fix it. She's asking you to understand, to be patient, to not make a big deal out of this. You're not listening anymore. You're doing math in your head. $55,000 in debt, multiple accounts in collections, a credit score in the 400s. This isn't something that gets fixed in a few months. This is years of damage. This is your financial life destroyed before it even started. You ask her directly, "Did you take out loans in my name without asking me?" She gets defensive. "We're your parents. We weren't trying to hurt you. We were trying to survive. Besides, we gave you everything growing up. We paid for your food, your clothes, your school supplies. This is just you helping the family." And there it is, the justification, the reframing of fraud as family obligation. The expectation that because they raised you, they're entitled to your identity, your credit, your financial future. You hang up. You sit there staring at your phone, trying to process what just happened. Your parents committed identity theft. They took out tens of thousands of dollars in loans using your social security number, your name, your identity, and they destroyed your credit in the process. Now you have to decide what to do, and every option is terrible. Option 1, you file a police report. You report your parents for identity theft. You dispute the debts. You provide evidence that you didn't authorize these accounts. The credit bureaus investigate. The debts get removed from your report. Your credit eventually recovers, but to do this, your parents could face criminal charges. Identity theft is a felony. They could be prosecuted, fined, possibly even go to jail. You'd be the person who sent your own parents to jail. Your family would never forgive you. Your siblings would say you're overreacting. Being selfish, destroying the family over money. Your extended family would hear a version of the story where you're the villain, the ungrateful child who turned on their parents when they needed help. Option 2. You take responsibility for the debt. You work with the creditors, set up payment plans. Try to rehabilitate the accounts. You spend the next 5 to 10 years paying off debt you didn't create. Sacrificing your financial future to clean up your parents' mess, your credit stays damaged for years. You can't get an apartment, can't get a car loan, can't get approved for anything. Meanwhile, your parents face no consequences. They learn that they can use you financially and you'll just accept it. This probably won't be the last time. If they did it once and got away with it, they'll do it again. Option 3. You try to negotiate with your parents. You demand they pay off the debts. You threaten to file a police report if they don't. Maybe they agree. Maybe they set up a payment plan. Maybe they actually follow through, but probably they don't have the money. That's why they took out the loans in your name in the first place. And now you're stuck in an impossible situation where they owe you money they can't pay. And you have to decide whether to destroy them legally or destroy yourself financially. There's no good option. Every choice involves massive sacrifice. Either you sacrifice your relationship with your family, or you sacrifice your financial future. Or you sacrifice both, trying to find some middle ground that probably doesn't exist. You call the credit card company first. You explain that you didn't open this account, that it's fraud. The representative asks if you filed a police report. You say not yet. They say you need to file a report and send them a copy. Otherwise, they can't remove the debt. You're legally responsible unless you report it as fraud. You call the bank that issued the car loan, same thing, police report required. They need documentation that this was identity theft. Without it, the debt is yours. You look up what filing a police report actually means. You read forums, articles, legal advice websites. Everyone says the same thing. If you file a report claiming identity theft, law enforcement will investigate. If the investigation determines your parents did this, they will be charged. This isn't a civil matter, it's criminal. You can't control what happens once you file that report. You're faced with an impossible decision, and you're 23 years old. You should be starting your career, building your life, enjoying your 20s. Instead, you're trying to decide whether to send your parents to jail or accept financial ruin. You try talking to your dad, maybe he'll be more reasonable. He answers the phone and you can tell your mom already called him. He's angry. He says you're being dramatic, that this is a family matter and you need to handle it within the family. He says filing a police report would be a betrayal, that you'd be throwing your parents under the bus. You ask him how he'd feel if someone took out $55,000 in debt in his name without asking. He says that's different. You're their child. They raised you. This is what family does. They help each other. You point out that help implies consent, that you didn't agree to this, that they committed fraud. He raises his voice. Don't use that word. We didn't commit fraud. We borrowed money to survive and we used the only option available. You're making us sound like criminals? But they are criminals. What they did is literally a crime. And now they're asking you to be complicit in that crime by accepting the consequences they created. The conversation ends badly. Your dad tells you to think about what you're doing, to remember who raised you, who sacrificed for you. He hangs up before you can respond. You feel sick. This is your family. These are the people who packed your lunches, drove you to school, showed up to your soccer games. And they destroyed your financial future without even asking. They treated your identity like community property, like something they were entitled to. You start researching what your life looks like with a credit score in the 400s. You can't rent most apartments. Landlords won't approve you. The places that will approve you are in bad neighborhoods or require massive security deposits you don't have. You can't buy a car. No bank will give you a loan if you need a vehicle. You're stuck with predatory buy here, pay here lots that charge 25% interest. You probably can't get approved for a credit card, which means no building credit, no rewards, no financial flexibility. You're stuck in cash-only life. Some employers run credit checks. A bad credit score can cost you job opportunities, especially in finance, government, or any position that requires security clearance. If you ever want to buy a house, forget it. Not for years. Not until you spend thousands of dollars and countless hours fixing the damage your parents caused. This is the life they chose for you, without asking, without warning. They made financial decisions that will impact you for the next decade. And they expect you to just accept it. You talk to a lawyer. Just a free consultation, the lawyer is blunt. If you want the debts removed, you have to report it as fraud. If you report it as fraud, your parents will be investigated and likely charged. There's no loophole. No way to remove the debts without implicating them. The lawyer also warns you about the statute of limitations. If you wait too long, you lose the ability to dispute these debts. The clock is ticking. You need to decide soon. You try one more time with your parents. You call a family meeting. You bring documentation, the credit report, the account details, the timeline. You explain calmly what happened and what it means for your future. Your mom cries. She says she's sorry that they made a mistake, that they were desperate. Your dad is defensive. He says you're blowing this out of proportion. That credit can be rebuilt, that you're young and you have time. You ask them directly, will you pay off these debts? Your dad says they don't have the money. They're barely making their own payments. Your mom says maybe they can pay a little each month. Maybe $50. You do the math out loud. $50 a month on $55,000 in debt. That's 92 years. You ask if they understand that they committed a crime. Your dad stands up, says he's not going to sit here and be accused by his own child. Your mom is still crying, saying you're tearing the family apart. You realize they're never going to take responsibility. They're never going to fix this. They're going to make you the villain for refusing to accept what they did. You file the police report. It's one of the hardest things you've ever done. You sit in the police station filling out forms, explaining that your parents stole your identity. The officer taking your statement is sympathetic but professional. This happens more than you'd think, he says. You provide copies of your credit report, documentation showing you were a student when these accounts were opened, proof that you never had access to the money. The officer says they'll investigate and be in touch. You call your parents to tell them what you did. You owe them that much. Your mom answers. When you tell her, she gasps, then starts sobbing. Your dad gets on the phone. He's yelling, calling you ungrateful, selfish, a traitor. He says you've destroyed the family, that you're dead to him. You try to explain that they destroyed your credit, that they left you no choice. He hangs up. Your siblings text you. They've heard, they're angry. Your older brother says you're overreacting, that you should have handled this privately. Your younger sister says she can't believe you'd do this to mom and dad, that they were just trying to survive. None of them ask about you. None of them acknowledge what was done to you. You're the villain in their story, the one who chose money over family. The investigation takes weeks. During that time, you're in limbo. You can't rent an apartment because your credit is still destroyed. You're sleeping on a friend's couch. You're working your new job, but you can't move forward with your life. The credit bureaus put the disputed accounts under investigation. That helps a little, but not enough. Your score is still terrible. Then you get a call from a detective. The investigation confirmed that your parents opened the accounts. They've been contacted. They admitted to using your information. They're being charged with identity theft and fraud. The detective says you did the right thing, that this is serious, that your parents need to face consequences. But it doesn't feel like you did the right thing. It feels like you just destroyed your family. Your parents hire a lawyer they can't afford. Adding to their debt, the lawyer contacts you, asks if you'll drop the charges. You explain that you can't, that this is a criminal matter now, that it's out of your hands. The lawyer suggests a restitution agreement. Your parents plead guilty, agree to pay back the debts, and you ask the prosecutor to recommend a lenient sentence. You talk to the prosecutor. They say if your parents make a good faith effort to pay restitution, they'll recommend probation instead of jail time. Your parents agree, they plead guilty. The judge orders them to pay $55,000 in restitution. Gives them 5 years probation, they avoid jail. But now they have felony records. The debts start getting removed from your credit report. Slowly, over months, your score begins to recover. You're finally able to rent an apartment. You're finally able to start building credit properly. But your family is gone. Your parents won't speak to you. Your siblings send occasional texts, always cold, always brief. Family gatherings happen without you. Holidays are spent alone. You did everything right legally. You protected yourself. You held people accountable for a crime, but it cost you your family. And here's the part that nobody talks about. You're not sure you made the right choice. Legally, yes. Financially, yes. But emotionally? You traded one kind of damage for another. You saved your credit but lost your family. You protected your future but destroyed your past, and late at night, when you're alone in your apartment that you can finally afford, you wonder if it was worth it, because this is what family financial abuse looks like. It's not strangers stealing your identity. It's the people who are supposed to protect you exploiting you instead. It's being forced to choose between your own future and the people you love. And no matter what you choose, you lose. Your parents took out loans in your name. They committed fraud, they destroyed your credit, and when you held them accountable, you became the bad guy. That's the reality of financial abuse within families. The abuser is protected by love, by obligation, by the expectation that family forgives everything, and the victim is expected to sacrifice themselves to keep the peace. You didn't sacrifice yourself, you chose your future over their comfort. You chose accountability over enabling, and it cost you everything they gave you growing up. Every memory, every holiday, every family connection, gone. Because you refused to pay for crimes you didn't commit? Welcome to the impossible choice that thousands of young people face every year. Your parents stole from you, and you have to decide what that's worth.